We got a couple sleeping bags over at my mom's cabin uh, up in the mountains, and uh, the sleeping bags are not here at our house, not here in Tucson. Uh, so I figured whenever we were up there this past weekend, or this past week actually, then I would um, you know give it a try and get in one of the sleeping bags. This sleeping bag, actually, this sleeping bag is my. I think it's my wife's sleeping bag because, and you'll see a little bit later on if you continue watching this video that my feet kind of stick out uh, quite a bit actually from the sleeping bag, so uh, it wouldn't really keep me too warm, and it's not big enough for my body. Not long enough. I didn't find the other sleeping bag, or I didn't use the other sleeping bag. I don't know where that is. My my buddy, he keeps the sleeping bags up in the attic, I think, and that's not wheelchair accessible up there, so I didn't grab the sleeping bag up there. But um, another thing I was thinking about actually is kind of just change the subject for a minute. Is I was uh, we with the monsoon season, um, my diet has been pretty good, and so what's been going on is I haven't had really too much of a pimple problem or zits, things like that, and everything is going pretty smoothly as far as the bowels and stuff. But um, man, my mouth has not been dry at all, or my mouth is not dry, or it wasn't dry whenever we were during the monsoon season. And whenever I say the monsoon season, then I'm talking specifically about uh, humidity levels like about 45% or more. And so anyway, I didn't have dry mouth, and no pimples, and things were going pretty nicely. And then we went, then my wife and I and some family went up to the cabin there. And then whenever we came back, then I noticed that my mouth was really, really dry, and I started to run across some pimples, and I don't know, I just didn't feel as good as normal, and so that's something I have to work out. I don't know. Maybe I thought maybe if I eat more vegetables, then I won't have so much of a dry mouth, um, because the bowel system is kind of a little bit of constipation going on, so I'm not too happy about that. Um, it's not as bad as it could be, but and that's because I keep eating the vegetables, the canned vegetables, and that helps. And the funny thing is oatmeal helps out quite a bit too. I don't know how much dietary fiber is in oatmeal, um, but things that have quite a bit of dietary fiber are pretty good, especially whenever it's very dry, very, very dry outside. And that's one thing about the desert is even though the summer has ended and it's starting to get starting to get kind of cool, then actually that's whenever the humidity valve is shut off or cut way down, and then it gets really, really dry. So, like I said, I'm experiencing some dry mouth right now, and you know, the bowel thing is not going as good as I would like, and I'm having a little bit of pimple problem, but hopefully I can straighten it around, and I thought the mixed vegetables would do it, the canned vegetables would do it, but maybe I need a little bit more. Bananas are good, but they give me, they aren't very good, they give me gas, so that's, good and bad with that, but I'll keep trying, and hopefully I can get this figured out with the dryness and how to keep my mouth from getting dry, even though, you would say, well, just drink a bunch of water. Well, yeah, I know, but and I do that, but it still doesn't solve the problem. So back to this video. I put on the I opened up the sleeping bag, and I laid down. I guess I could have laid down outside on the ground, but I don't know. It's still a little bit wet outside, and I got a little bit of skin breakdown, so it just wasn't going to work out too well, and it was just going to be more of a hassle than really anything. And so I figured that I just might as well set up the sleeping bag on the bed, on the extra bed out in the living room. So I did have kind of a hard time putting the elastic strap back around the sleeping bag. It was kind of difficult because the sleeping bag was kind of slippery, and the elastic strap. I'm trying to hold the sleeping bag still while putting the elastic strap back on the sleeping bag, and that was kind of a challenge. Whenever you roll up the sleeping bag, you roll it up really, really tight, and I think that helps a lot as far as being able to much easier, or have an easier time whenever you're putting the elastic strap around the sleeping bag, so that it will be in so the sleeping bag will be in a rolled up position, rolled up situation again. But since I don't do this very often, since I don't use the sleeping bag very often, then I'm kind of rusty at it, and maybe next time if I pull out the sleeping bag, which probably won't be for quite a while now, actually, because we kind of closed up shop up there at the cabin, and we probably aren't going to go back there for probably about 6 months or something like that. Quite a while.